Welcome, everybody. We appreciate you taking the time to join our webinar today on Visa Processing Performance, or VPPM. My name is Eva. I will be the facilitator for today's webinar. Before we get started, let's do a bit of housekeeping. If you're on VPN, please log off of it. If you have other programs open, you might need to close them off as well. If the video freezes or becomes choppy, please refresh your page by hitting the F5 on your screen. If you have any sound issue, please open the media player icon located on the bottom of your screen and make sure the screen is turned on. During the webinar, if you have any questions, please type your question in the question box and we will address them in the Q&A session later on. I'm very excited to introduce our speaker for today. Sylvia is a strategic product and technical leader with more than 20 years of experience in payment processing, product development, and client services across Asia Pacific. She comes with proven track record in driving revenue growth, implementing innovative solutions, and leading a cross-functional team. She's currently the head of network and issuing product at Visa. Let's welcome Sylvia Sunadi Ide.
Thank you, Eva. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's great to be here. Today, I'm going to walk you through what VPPM is and then how does it work, how you should consider VPPM, how to request for VPPM. And lastly, we will go through a set of questions followed by the demo before we hand it over the session back to Eva. First thing first, in terms of what VPPM is and how does it work, Visa Processing Performance Monitor, or VPPM, allows issuers to enjoy near real-time visibility into their processing performance. It is powered by one of the world's largest and trusted payment networks, VisaNet. And then what VPPM delivers to the issuer, it is a near real-time visibility towards their declined and approved transactions. How it works, it will work on all Visa-branded transactions processed over VisaNet. VPPM will then display in near real-time the analysis of an issuer approved and declined transaction along with the associated decline reason code. As a subscriber or participating issuers, issuer will be able to integrate with Visa using two flexible options. One is via the web dashboard option. Second, in the near future, will be via the API version of the VPPM dashboard. Why you should consider VPPM? More or less driven by your current pain points. We recognize the fact that today, when it comes to service performance degradation, your access to visibility might be manual. And as a result, you will have to rely on a set of people, including with Visa. And then this can result in poor cardholder experience. What VPPM can deliver, it will allow you to increase protection against a potential loss in interchange, because if issuers act soon enough, you will be able to resolve any root causes that will causing the decline transaction. And in turn, when action, it will minimize any impact on the customer experience, as well as minimizing any operational issue, as well as reputational risk, promoting brand health, as well as top of wallet status. When it comes to service flow, as you can see on this diagram, as articulated before, transaction will be captured inside VisaNet, and then VisaNet will use one of its most trustable data monitoring platform called VitalSign to be able to pump or pipe near real-time transaction data, be it approved or declined, along with the associated decline reason code and then step reason code. Sometime in the near future, the API integration will be available. If you are interested, please reach out to your Visa representative. In terms of the VPPM fees, up until the 31st of 31st of March 2026. Any issuers subscribing to VPPM will enjoy a fee-free period. Following that, a small fee or access fee per month will apply depending on the client group. On top of that, there isn't any general configuration fee associated with subscribing and unsubscribing from VPPM. For clients in India, Visa will announce the availability of VPPM via a future edition of Visa Business News. Now, in terms of use cases, I'm going to partner with my colleague, Hazel.
Hey, thank you, Sylvia, for inviting me to this session as well.
Right, Hazel. Would you mind to share with us your experience, perhaps as a leader within your function, in terms of how you feel VPPM will be able to provide you with benefits or improve your processes as a leader within the payment system?
Absolutely. So what we've done was we've actually reached out to the LAC team where they've conducted interviews to across 25 of our clients, and we did some pilot runs of VPPM. So what we've seen are certain challenges, and one of the example is where you see client A over here, where they've experienced various peaking of their transaction flows, especially when it comes to declines. And we're wondering what was it exactly were the challenges. So as we double click into those, we realized that, they were unable to address this and detect it early enough to identify what's the next step to resolution. So when VPPM was applied to such accounts and scenarios, we discovered that through the processor that had a security tool that led to the collapse of these declined transactions. Now, once we apply VPPM, we were able to provide a near real-time visibility on this problem and was critical for the client to be able to resolve this very quickly. And what is the result that we see as an outcome? Now, immediately we were seeing at least 98% decrease in declines and also an incremental of 10% in approval rates from a period of about 8 months thereafter. And from here, what we're seeing is that we're addressing at least 30,000 in monthly transaction declines that were being stopped. So these were some of the transformative experiences and challenges we've addressed, looking at a few of our clients over the last few months. Back to you, Sylvia.
Thank you. Thank you, Hazel. So does it mean that we're going to skip this?
No, I think we should talk and share more about use cases because
great.
I believe our Asia Pacific clients are very interested to hear more about case studies.
Sure. Great. Thank you, Hazel. And I would like to, add to what Hazel just shared, before. This is very much dependent upon, client scenario, but these are some of the typical scenario. Imagine, you as client A, for instance, where today you are actively, driving new value-added services to Visa, perhaps adding in BIN or standing up a new endpoint, including in the form of a cloud-based endpoint, Visa Cloud Connect. In those instances, your ability to ensure transactions are being processed successfully will be crucial. And as a result, if let's say you have access to VPPM, your reliance on other team members will be lesser because on your fingertips, you will be able to track your transaction in near real time and be able to discover if there are any anomalies and then be able to act on it quickly. For those ones that will require internal remediation, you'll be able to check in quickly with your colleagues. Alternatively, if those declines resulted due to your configuration with Visa, then you will likely need to work with Visa for the remediation. Other use cases, we see client, again, trying to save time and manpower. Having access to VPPM, again, will allow them to work independently, be able to act accordingly, and not reliant on any team members, including processes. the key thing on VPPM, as pointed out by the experience by client C, you do need to take action from the learnings or statistics provided by VPPM. What VPPM will do definitely will just show you what was wrong or what went wrong with your transaction. As far as seeking for remediation, you will still need to work with your own team or with Visa. Now, in terms of access to VPPM, we have made the journey simpler in the sense of if you're interested in enrolling to VPPM, please do and go and visit our Visa Access enrollment page. The link is live, so if we share this presentation to you or if you have a copy of the VBN, you'll be able to see the link. Under step 2, as you progress the enrollment form, you will be asked to provide your Visa Access profile or access, and then you would need to indicate your first name, last name, and email address. Following that, you need to accept the terms and conditions, and then upon submission, an email confirmation will be sent by Visa to the requester, and then please allow between 10 to calendar days for access enablement. For clients based in Indonesia, please reach out to your Visa representative for support. Alternatively, you can still reach out to us at apvppmactivation@visa.com. Issue checklist, we will go through the commonly asked question that we have described before. How can issuer opt in? It is through the self-enrollment page at Visa Processing Performance Monitor. This means as an issuer, you need to actively ask Visa for access by completing the online form. Except for clients in Indonesia, they will have a slightly different process, but equally, it will need a proactive request from your side. Next question, when it comes to the fee-free period, importantly to note that any enrollment up until the 31st of March 2026 will be fee-free, and therefore please give this VPPM a go, and then let us know if there's any feedback in terms of service features that will be useful, and then be reminded that there isn't any configuration fee involved when it comes to subscribing as well as unsubscribing from VPPM. When it comes to the fee itself, it will start to apply from the 1st of April 2026. If there is a question in terms of how I can unsubscribe from VPPM in the future, the answer is very simple. Please go and visit Visa Access. There's going to be a dedicated VPPM page on Visa Access. Complete the form and allow between 3 and 10 calendar days for access removal. If you want to read more about VPPM, do visit Visa Access, or alternatively reach out to us for more information. Now, when it comes to VPPM in action or at work, if you have any issues with your data feed, please create a case via the Visa Support Hub. Equally, if you have issues with your access, you could equally reach out to Visa via the Visa Support Hub, or alternatively, you can drop us an email at apvppmactivation@visa.com. Demo-wise, unfortunately, we could not play a live demo, but we do have a few key slides that we could demonstrate to you. Starting with the dashboard, access to VPPM will be hosted through the Visa Analytics platform. Once you have been granted with access, you will be able to see the Visa Analytics button or tab inside your My Services. If not, it is the Visa Processing Performance Monitor itself. Now, important to note that any clients who have yet to subscribe to VAP or Visa Analytics platform, subscription to VPPM doesn't mean that you have to start paying for a licensing fee of VAP. You will continue to only have access to VPPM and not be charged with any native VAP fee. Now, upon seeing those or clicking on the relevant button inside your dashboard, you will be taken to the next page, which will be the key to your activities. On this main page, you will be able to see that from a transaction monitoring perspective, you will be able to toggle the data to be able to view the last hour or the last 24 hours. Importantly, you will be able to set alerts to be shared with other members of your team, and the information down to the bin level, as well as transaction level and the environment, whether it's domestic or international. And then in addition, once you have scrolled through those information, you will be prompted with the decline reason code. Under this web dashboard, because it's not live, it is not interactive. However, in the GA version or general availability version, you will be able to toggle down the reason code down to the steep reason code, and then being able to view who's declining the transaction, whether it's you yourself or is it Visa. Now, one of the key features that will be super helpful for you and your team members will be being able to set up a threshold for transaction that you wanted to be alerted. And then in the upcoming enhancement of VPPM, you will be able to set alert based on decline reason code, such as in the case of not sufficient funds or suspected fraud, you will be able to define the threshold and be able to share these alerts with a maximum of 5 email address set by the admin users of VPPM within your organization. We are now at the end of our presentation. I'm going to hand over this forum back to Eva for closing. Back to you, Eva. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sylvia, for walking us through on what VPPM is all about. Before we go to Q&A sessions, perhaps you can share or demo live on VPPM.
Certainly, but if it is okay with everyone, I would like to walk you through the enrollment process, if that's okay, and then we can go into the actual demonstration itself. Having said that, I would need to share my screen, so just give me a second. Put it straight into and share my screen. That will be awesome. Just give me a second. I hope you can see my screen. I am using the VPN. So inside the VPN itself, you will find the step on how to enroll. This is self-enrollment where you do need to have access to Visa Online. And then once you have your access, you just need to click on the link. It should take you to the page or the home page of Visa Access. Can you see my screen moving? To Visa Online is now Visa Access. Are you able to give me the thumbs up that you can see my screen moving?
Yes, we can see, Sylvia.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to go in and my screen will change, one more time. I would like to call out to you that most of our clients will not have the same screen like I do, because I am an admin and therefore I can see more products. However, for clients, they will straight away see the VPPM link being isolated or in isolation, and therefore from there on you just need to make sure that you click on the VPPM itself. Just give me a second. Then I know that we have two. I believe this is the right one, and then we can distribute this one, and then we go into continue. And this is the first page, of the VPPM enrollment, page. This is self-enrollments where you should see the reference to Visa Asia Pacific at the top of your banner, and that will be by default. Following that, you would need to enter your first name and last name along with your email address, and then from there on, you will need to click next. Following that, once you click next, you will be taken to what we call enter your information, which will mean that it is either for yourself or for your colleagues, because you can apply on behalf of your colleagues, but you do need to specify their visa online access. And once that completed, it will take you to the click to enroll, and then you need to click the submit button. Now, one thing to remember, do refer to the Visa Business News where we speak of indicate pricing that will apply to Visa Processing Performance Monitor effective 1st of April next year. And therefore, client itself has been grouped into three categories, if you like. Group 1, 2, and 3, between large, medium, and small. And the fee-free period will be the same for everyone. That the fee will be fee-free through the 31st of March 2026. And then for the number of users that will be included or covered within the fee for clients identified by the enrollment portal as small can apply for up to 2 users. Medium, you could apply for up to 5 users, whereas the large clients, you could have up to 10 users. However, please do, or kindly be reminded when you, or on the previous demo, you would, see that we mentioned how when subscribing to the Visa Processing Performance Monitor, when it comes to generating or creating your alerts, this is for decline transaction alerts where you can define the number of transactions, as your threshold to be alerted to you, whether for every day or during weekend only. You could share that alerts with 4 others' email addresses, and therefore, if you have 2 users under your organization, you're basically able to share the alerts, with at least 10, 10 people, including yourself as one of the users. We hope that the enrollment page is simple enough. However, in cases where you do need help from Visa, feel free to reach out to us at AP VPPM activation at visa.com indicated on the VBN, or we could send or we can send the addresses during or at the closing of this webinar, and then just reach out to us and let us know how we can help you further. One of us will attend and make sure that you can complete your enrollment in a swift or faster time manner. Questions so far?
Hey, Sylvia, I was just looking at some of the questions from the field over here, and I'm just wondering if you're able to look at, like, can I look at the steep reason codes within VPPM?
That really is a great question. Yes, you will. However, these features will only be available from the beginning of calendar 2026, Hazel. But yeah, I believe this is one of the reasons for why Visa allows issuers to have fee-free access until the 31st of March, because between now and March, we will continue to enhance the services, and then the only way for issuers to experience that will be to start subscribing to the VPPM today, and then when we get to January, we will inform all users that the steep reason codes will become available from that point onwards. Thank you for the good question, though.
I see. Now, if that being the case, that is, it will be made available. Now, if I want to see the breakdown of my steep transactions, is that possible in the future then?
It will be possible, but it wouldn't be through VPPM dashboard directly. If a client has access to what we call Visa Analytics platform, then they will be able to use what we call the Visa Analytics platform authorization report, either detail or analysis, and display the steep reason code. Meaning, if through VPPM a client identifies that they had about perhaps 100 transaction declined by steep due to insufficient funds, for instance, then it should correspond back with the detailed report from the VAP. And if a client doesn't have any access to VAP, do reach out to Visa so that we can discuss in terms of what other means a client can use. Alternatively, if clients do have internal reporting or anything in that segment, if you like, including internal data tools, all clients, when it comes to transaction decline or approved by STIP, they would already have a copy of the advices from Visa. However, from convenience, of course, there is no better way than to subscribe to additional tools from Visa. Hope that addresses the question, Hazel.
Yes, awesome. Also, I see some questions coming from the team here, is whether as the client, they're able to observe their token provisioning activities within VPPM.
At present, it wouldn't, but as we continue to build the service features through future enhancement, likely that we will include this enhancement as part of our FY27 rollout.
What about declined transactions? And if I want to look at improving my approval rates, who should I reach out to?
Really great question. Thank you. When it comes to identifying remediation or remedies for declined transaction, a client should really pay attention, on their decline reason code as well as the steep, the associated steep reason codes. This is because first a client will need to identify whether those declines were declined by their own host, or when they are available, or declined by STIP for when they are not available. When the client is available, the decline reason code will specifically stated what the reason behind it, and therefore if a client wants to look for an improvement, the first team that they need to contact will be their own team. And subsequently, depending on the types of issue, they can reach out to their Visa client services to ask for alternate solution, or if there's any solution from Visa that they can use. When it comes to decline by STIP, because this was declined on behalf of the issuers, often the first team that a client should really consider to get in touch with will be clients' dedicated Visa client services managers. This is to identify the path that ultimately, if the reason behind it is associated with issues that can be fixed immediately, such as configuration, then the answer will be to ask for configuration changes from Visa. Or alternatively, if the issue is more complex, then a client can consider engaging Visa consulting analytics team or advisory services on how to fix the issue permanently, where ultimately both or all steps will lead into improved authorization rates as well as their top of wallet status and ultimately their brand health.
Thank you so much. You've given so much guidance on the part, especially on areas to go about improving my approval rates. Now, there's then what about the area when it comes to like decline transactions? And within that, I'd like to see the breakdown. Where should I find it within VPPM?
I would be able to demonstrate to you, but I would need to switch my screen if that's all right.
Oh, yes, please.
Let me go back to our screen if I can. And I need to turn it off for one moment, the screen sharing, so that I can go in quickly. Just give me a second. Take a little bit, but please bear with me. Back soon. Just give me a second. One more click.
While you're getting the screen ready, I was just looking at some of the Q&A questions, especially the one that is from Sinmun. We're not currently enrolled on VAP. We encourage you to do so. Now, the answer to your question, can we still get access to this set of data? The answer is no. You do need to get yourself enrolled. During the session earlier, we showed you how to do so, the process. So this data must and does require you to enroll. So kindly do take those steps. Yeah, so in order for you to access the information, it must be enrolled. Sylvia, I'm not sure if you're able to also kind of like take note of the other, the next question that's coming from Phuc Nguyen in Vietnam. When I
Sure.
get an alert for some reason for outages or low approval rates, what can I do as next action? I think just now you kind of like alluded to some of the actions required for approval rate. What about areas of outages?
That's a really great question. My screen is still loading. Indeed, it really depends on what it is, and I believe from a tech perspective, depending on the STIP reason code, if the threshold is defined by you, then you can take action if it's associated with, say for instance, too many not sufficient balance or due to timeout, for instance, then if it is to do with timeouts, then the remediation will be about getting in touch with your own team. If you are processing in-house, then your team should be able to do what we call troubleshooting to understand if there is any resource contention or there is anything that is causing your service degradation, because the role of Visa will be to track your connectivity status to Visa. However, if this was a result of Visa failure, then the Visa production support team would already proactively reach out to you.
Cool.
Eventually, I think, yeah, apologies, Hazel. One more thing. Eventually, not immediately, but towards FY27, we are planning to add another service features to VPPM, where when it comes to outages and timeouts, we wanted to be able to show the originating station ID as well. So my sincere apologies if, let's say, most of our guests today are in the business. However, for those one who sits within the technology or application support, you guys would appreciate the reference to the importance of understanding where the outages came from. And then that typically will be in the form of the associated station ID, so that you could quickly zoom in to understand whether there is any system resources contention that I was referring to you before.
Okay. On the earlier question regarding access to VPPM, right? So we do require our clients to be enrolled on VAP before they can gain access to VPPM. Could you clarify on this? And I believe also people might be a little bit more concerned surrounding if I do need access or enrollment to VAP, do I then need to pay for separate VAP fees? So maybe you can take this, Sylvia.
That's a really, great question. I appreciate it that, the question came up. So the answer to that, rest assured that, the subscription to VPPM will not result in client, needing to what we call subscribe to what we call VAP services. No. In this instance, whilst VAP is, mounted or hosted, on VAP, but subscription will not result in client needing to subscribe to other VAP services or license.
Mm-hmm. But when we do the enrollment, as in the client submits for enrollment, is it with one single ticket, they will be enrolled to first the VAP platform and subsequently they will then be added to the VPPM platform? Is that how it works, or they need to raise two separate tickets?
It's only one ticket at the moment. Where right now, how it works, you would need to what we call complete the enrollment to accept, the products, terms and condition, and then following that, you would, do what we call the intake form. Right now, you are only needing to do the first step, but after the 1st of April, there will be two steps. But it's just in a single form, if that makes sense. So it doesn't require an issuer to get out, from where they are. They just need to stay within the same enrollment form and then continue to what we call complete, the request itself.
Awesome, awesome. So, Sinwin, hopefully we've answered your questions. Now, going back to Vietnam, now, in order to access the VPPM beyond the registration that you've just described, right? Having single enrollment process that will gain the client access to, I would say, enroll onto VAP platform, whereby then they will be enabled on VPPM. I guess the specific question is on the client side, do they need any further configuration? Now, my guess is no, but maybe you could kind of like clarify on that.
You are correct, Hazel. There is no configuration required, to be done. It's basically just, an access, and therefore rest assured that, what our issues will need to do will just, to ask for or access via the self-enrollment, and then that will be it. However, future down the track, if let's say our issuers prefer to be notified, via their mobile phone, for instance, or wanting to integrate it into their own system, then the API version of VPPM will be available in probably the end of FY26, and therefore for that, just like any other visa PDP or visa developer-based API, clients do need to integrate with Visa first before able to start using it on their mobile phones.
Understand. So now is actually a straight through, or rather hosted on the cloud.
That's
they can
right.
Just, enroll. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
now,
I should. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, that's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So now there's this, I guess, maybe query that's bugging some of the audience here. That is this feature available for merchants in their monitoring application? I suspect no, but again, if you could clarify that, Sylvia.
Thank you, Hazel. Not at the moment, but in the Fabian itself, we mentioned that we will expand access to the acquiring side as well as acquirer processor and issuer processor, but it wouldn't be until perhaps the end of calendar 2026, to which a future edition of the Visa Business News will be published to announce availability. At the moment, it is only for the issuer preview. However, if you look at one of the slide later, which we will share later, where the diagram indicates that it's basically the architecture that backs VPPM is called vital sign. Most of our clients are familiar with it, and therefore what we are doing now is simply extending access. Right now is to the issuer. There isn't any technical challenges that prevent Visa from extending the service to the acquiring side or merchant side. It's just that we are needing to gradually roll out this, globally, and as a result, the schedule for those merchants, acquirers as well as processors has been slanted for, towards the end of 2026 calendar.
Got it. Got it. I've seen additional questions and all surrounding whether there is a need to pay for VAP because VPPM sits on top of the VAP platform. So the answer again is no, you do not need to pay additional fees for VAP. For this specific enroll, you'll be specific to VPPM fees only. There's no need to pay for VAP. However, having said that, there are other value add services which you can subscribe, and that's totally optional. So hopefully that clarifies your questions.
That is correct. I just wanted to add to what Hazel just stated. If you are today not a client of VAP, indeed you are not going to be requested to pay anything extra. And then the mention of the example that we were discussing before, such as if I observe, I don't know whether you can see my screen moving. If I observe, for instance, 200 decline transactions. Right now, it doesn't have the example of citizen code, but if I observe under, say, for instance, close account, or if not, PIN incorrect or missing, for instance, where can I find, the 314 transaction under this example? Then the only way will be either through your own host or reaching out to the Visa Analytics platform team to see if they can extend, the authorization report analysis report to allow you to fetch, the transaction breakdown. And that is purely optional. If, let's say, there is any small fee associated with that access to the report, you could still say no to it. It's not that we're going to enable it for you. What we will be, recommending you to ask for now is just access to the dashboard, and that's via self-enrollment. The fee is free. And then just wanted to rehash that, if you are today not a native client or an existing client of the Visa Analytics platform, you will not be requested to pay any licensing fee. You will only be subjected to the VPPM fee beginning 1st of April 2026 if you choose to continue with us. And to subscribe and not subscribe from Visa Performance Analytics, you do not need to pay any configuration fee. Basically free of charge.
And also, Sylvia, this is actually not, there's no mandate and requirement, right, for clients to actually subscribe and enroll to VPPM.
No, there isn't. Under this model, we are simply wanting to promote and advise clients where before, when it comes to outages or timeouts, they tend to rely on their own team, or especially when they have a processor. Therefore, when it comes to feasibility of those transactions, you may have to wait, or maybe the data might not be accurate. But then Visa now comes back with a web dashboard where you could basically remove those hurdles, if you like. And therefore, our recommendation would be if you like to know this, subscribe to it because it's free of charge until the 31st of March. And then if you do not think that it's useful for you, do unsubscribe from it, perhaps by the end of February next year or mid-March, so that you can avoid a fee beginning 1st of April next year.
Awesome. Now, Sinwin, we're more than happy for you to start enrolling now. I see that you're quite curious. Yes, because now there's still a free, no fee applied period, right, Sylvia?
That's correct. And then no configuration fee as well. This product is different than any other Visa product in general. I do know that in general for Visa, other products, there is what we call general configuration fee, right? Because we will have to enable it at your bin level. However, because this is, this focuses on what we call transaction monitoring, and the access is to the web dashboard, to subscribe and unsubscribe, there isn't any configuration fee, meaning it's basically what we call a goodwill gesture from Visa. Do come and give this a try, and then if you don't think that it's useful, unsubscribe from it. It will, your access will get removed, and then the fee will only, as in the subscription fee to the web dashboard under VPPM as a service, will only apply from the 1st of April if you choose to stay with VPPM.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing, enroll now and you get free services and free data insights all the way to the billing that will come in next April. Use this period to trial run and use. And I understand where all the outages, where all the opportunities for resolving the off rates transactions and the values that this system can bring. So so back to you, Sylvia, if you want to kind of like wrap up the last few minutes of this session, what would be the takeaway
Sure.
action for the team?
The takeaway, action will be, do give this, dashboard a go. As you can see, it's, pretty slick. Well, it show you your data. You will get notified. The data will be refreshed every 5 minutes. I don't know whether you see my screen moving, on its own. That's because of the data refresh. And then you could view your transaction in the last 1 hour, if not last 24 hours. And then more importantly, you can set, alerts on your own and share it with your other team members, right? And therefore, subscription to this will allow you to create, the ability to improve your authorization approval rate, ensuring your top of wallet status, brand health. But then it does need to come with your action. The moment you know that there are specific pockets where you see an increase, do reach out to your own team if the root cause is with you, or ask Visa for support.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sylvia, for today's session. Just as a wrap up and also a little bit of a preview to our next webinar that's coming up, there's going to be another session where our client services team will be sharing pertaining about another new data insights tool that will look at compliance and performance fees, where we will optimize 6 areas of data to support you in this area. So do look out for our invite for the next webinar. And until then, a goodbye and to see you soon.
So much.
Thank you.
Everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.